Ciao ragazzi, my name is Anthony. You are watching Football Worldwide, and thank you for tuning into Serie A Roundtable episode 8, I think it is. We're reviewing Matchday 6 and 7, or just basically talking about where we're currently standing in Serie A this season. And I have a beautiful looking panel with me today. So just going in the direction that I see them in, we welcome back Vince. How you feeling, my friend? It's good to see you again.
Very good, mate. I wanted to time it on the return after a good performance, so happy to be here.
Yeah, you always pick the weeks well, man. So good for you. Zil Armour, still looking happy, bro. Spalletti's got the
Hold
boys.
Hold on.
Oh, sorry.
You guys? Can you see me?
He's on top of the table, on top of the world, bro.
Let me enjoy until last. You know, Napoli is normally on top of the ladder 2 times every 3-4 years. So let me enjoy.
Allegri is not the only Bianconeri that's back in the house, because I got Michael here as well from Melbourne. It's good to see you again, my friend. How you doing? Unmute yourself to say hi, bro.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, Anthony. Thank you for having me on. And hopefully Allegri can bring back, the winning tradition of at Juventus.
Hopefully not, bro, to be honest. But let's go across to Carlos as well, who's in the house. I'm in a very generous mood today, man. I purposely wanted 2 Milanisti on the channel just to talk a little bit of hype. So, Carlos, unmute yourself and tell everybody hello. It's good to have you back, man.
Hi guys, thanks for having me back. It's always a pleasure to speak to you guys. So
it's a pleasure to have you, bro. So basically today, we're not exactly going to talk too much exactly about the results that just passed on the match day, just more so the current status of the clubs, because we did go through a couple of match days, and we know very well and truly this season, as we've all complained about religiously, that the international break is basically ruining everything, to basically put it short. But this is basically what we're looking at the moment with the table. Everything's starting to come into fruition nicely for a lot of clubs struggling. I just want to give a nice little shout out to everybody that's appeared on Football Worldwide so far this season. A lot of the clubs that we predicted, to be where they are, they pretty much are either where they are or gathering the form that we expected them to be in this season. So, obviously things are very much subject to change, and they will be. And I can't wait for that to happen, because there's nothing funnier than looking stupid and looking back at the end of the season and realizing you were wrong about a lot of things. But in order to start this weekend off, Milan, in my opinion, had the most impressive victory. And for that, they get the thumbnail this week and they can go first. And that's the reason I've invited both Vince and Carlos on. So without further ado, I'm going to shut up, and I'm just going to go straight over to Vince and Carlos. Unmute yourselves and you have the floor for a few minutes, gentlemen.
Thanks, Anthony. I might jump in there, Carlos. Very good performance this week from the boys. I was looking forward to this match because I really felt that we had some momentum. We played some good football. We had the opportunity to overcome some bad luck, I suppose, in the last couple of weeks. And the performance that they put out on the park was top shelf. It really showed that at our best, we should be contenders. We should be in that, at least the Champions League spots. Looking at the way Pioli just keeps evolving with this team, seeing the press, seeing that team spirit, seeing Macias sliding to block a tackle in the last minute of the match, even though it didn't end up well for him. Looking at all those little things that you notice in a champion team and a real high-performing team was brilliant to watch. Again, we're being proven right with the signing of Magic Mike in goals as well. He's doing a great job for us back there, and we're showing a lot of promise, and we continue to improve, which is the most important thing for me. I think we've got a few players out, which when they get back, and hopefully we can get a full roster, it adds just some more depth to our team. But I think it was I wouldn't call it a comfortable victory against Atalanta. I think it was a tough match. It all goes down to those little moments. If you're clinical in the moments that you're in the opposition's box, and then you're desperate and defending in your own box, you create your own luck. And I think we did a really good job of that.
Yeah, 100%. I think we did very well. Like you said, you sort of take those moments, you create your own luck. I thought we were unlucky to get the 2 goals at the end, but ultimately throughout most of the game, we looked mostly solid in defense, looked very well in attack, they very much took our chances. Having Rebic up front, as much as that's a makeshift striker position, definitely allows us more fluidity. It means that you end up with players like Lyon, who ends up having more space to run and can just sort of roam around and just do his thing, who very much prefers playing that sort of role rather than a rigid, you're a left wing out on the left. This is your area. So one thing I found very interesting in the first half in particular, and it seemed to catch Atalanta out a lot, was we found Teo Hernandez pretty much spent most of that half seemingly playing a central mid half the time. So that extra man, that extra bit of speed and flair definitely caused them a lot of trouble. So very, very good signs, which is very good to see. So I suppose hopefully we'll see if that we can keep that momentum going. Our own Messi or Messiah was good to finally see him get some minutes, and I thought it was a little bit unlucky. That penalty was dubious, if I should say so. So it's a little bit unlucky there, and then to potentially get clipped to come down, it potentially ruined what would have been a half-decent debut. So, but yeah, definitely good to see, because we need to get him nice and fit, because Port Diaz seems to be doing a whole lot of running, which is great for us, but he can't keep it going forever. So.
Yeah, Diaz and Tonali for me has been phenomenal in the midfield, and it's actually surprised me. I was expecting it from Tonali. I actually have to be honest, I wasn't expecting it from Diaz. I didn't see this in his game last season, and he's just got that little bit of flair that he can pick up the ball in between the lines and then run at the fence, and very hard to defend that.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Carlos, I'll let you have the final word on this match, because you're doing a lot of this without Ibrahimovic taking the pitch at the majority of the time as well. It's so good to see Pioli getting maximum effort out of every single one of your players. I would dare say in January, you don't have to do too much business. I know that depth has sort of been an issue the last 2 seasons, but you're in a position now where in January, you might only need to invest in one absolute maximum 2 players, mate. It's got to be a good feeling.
So there's a lot of rumours that Kessie is on his way out, which I'm fine with.
As early as January? Sorry to interrupt you. Do you think as early as January, possibly?
So I think the club's already pretty much offered what they're willing to offer. Kessie wants more. I think ultimately we'll use him until January, and then the minute someone comes along with any kind of bid, he's out the door. There's a few options going around, but we can always bring in Adley, who we've already got, but there's a bunch of rumors in terms of players that we're supposedly interested in come in. But obviously at this stage, this early, most of it's going to be paper talk. The only other option is potentially someone up front. You kind of, at the moment, we've only got Rebic, who's supposed to be one of the left wing depth players, and Pellegrini at the moment, who's fit, who's obviously trying to reach full fitness. You've got Giroud, who's also been struggling with injury, and then obviously the problems with Zlatan Ibrahimovic, with our three main striking options being having problems with injury. I think we may look at another option there. So I suppose we'll see how things go. That's obviously how things are looking at the moment, but it is still October. So if we can potentially get some of those guys nice and fit and injury free, we might not even bother looking at that. But I think the one definite will be Kessie will go, and we'll bring in someone else.
Fair enough.
Anthony, if you give me a second. Carlos, I heard that he's already got an agreement with PSG, so he's going to wait until June.
Yeah, I heard that too. But yeah, obviously we'll see how that plays out. But I've heard that rumor. But apparently Tottenham's very, very much interested, so they might make a move. And it's suppose, let's face it, if Tottenham come and offer the same amount of money as PSG, why wait 6 months and join PSG when you can go to Tottenham? So I suppose that's why I'm thinking we'll see how that plays out. I think the club have every intention to sell him rather than let him go for free. But ultimately, if no one comes up and no one offers the money he wants and no one comes with cash, then we're not going to have a choice but to let him go for free. But very disappointing the way that's panned out, considering his comments at the Olympics, pretty much saying, everything's great, I'm going to sign the minute I get to the club. And then he gets to the club and he goes, oh yeah, I'll sign, but I want an extra 2.5 mil compared to what you guys offered me.
Modern football, bro, with the agent in your ear 24/7.
Sure. Yeah, it's a
Vince,
strange one.
You want to finish off on Milan?
Yeah, I just want to finish off on Kessie, actually, because I feel it's a bit of a strange one for PSG. If you're looking at it from their point of view, they want to win the Champions League. That's what they're here for. They've built a bumper squad. Kessie went missing against Liverpool. He was clearly out of his depth against someone like Liverpool. Do you see a Champions League winning midfielder in Kessie? I just don't see it. When they've got players like Verratti and the rest of their midfield that are top shelf, I find it a very strange choice for PSG to want to.
Who's the manager? Who's Kessie manager?
His agent? I'm not too sure, actually.
It's I don't know his name, but he's not a well-known.
So it's not Rayola.
No, I'm pretty sure he's some kind of family. He's an uncle or something to that effect. It's some kind of family member, yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, thanks to Vince and thanks for Carlos. And I'm actually going to move an item up the agenda because Armando said something interesting in a chat to me a couple of days ago. He said if this particular side aren't careful, they might slip a lot further than your average big team that slips down the table. Now, already my statement's wrong, isn't it, Zilamo? Atalanta is not a big club in Italy. I said it all season. This is the season I think they're going to get stagnant. Now, that's just me talking from on the pitch. You know, it gets a little rusty with the same manager and the same team. You, however, have got a little bit of a perspective as well that, you know, if they don't consistently stay there, we could be looking at them dropping a little bit further. First of all, Armando, you think we're right in saying this is the season Gasperini stagnates, and do you think you can see them falling far?
Listen, remember that my three pick for the top three was Atalanta, Juventus, and Napoli. So far, two, they're not there, but I can see Juventus coming back, so it's not a problem. With Atalanta to me is one of those teams that have to sell and rebuild. And eventually, you're not going to rebuild what you sold. You can't have the luxury and the luck all the time. And we had in history in Italy a lots of clubs like Atalanta before. We had the Parma. Everybody talk about the Great Parma, but the Great Parma only lasts 6-7 years. Roughly.
Yeah.
You know, there is those kind of teams. And to me, I said it, and unfortunately, I'm right so far. Look, it's 7 games only, so I could be wrong. But to me, Atalanta, and also remember, I said Sassuolo will be the team that's going to struggle down. And actually, I see Sassuolo in 2-3 years' time even get relegated. Atalanta probably sit in the middle of the table or go back to where they used to be before. I can't see them to be contender top 4. Oh, don't forget, Milan and Inter are back very strong. Before Milan, when Atalanta was finished 3rd, 4th, 2nd, Juventus only had Napoli to compete against. Sometimes you had Roma coming up, but really you had Juventus and that's it. Then there was a big gap, and then you had Napoli try to make a bit of a hitchy to Juventus, and then you had Roma coming up a few times. That's why Atalanta find a way up. But now that the two Milanese team are back in full steam, Inter is good, Milan is good, Napoli is good, Roma is good. They're going to struggle.
Yeah, I'll get Michael to chime in a bit here just for a minute before we move on to your boys, Armando. Thanks for chiming in there. Michael, your thoughts on Gasperini and Atalanta? Refresh me, bro. Where did you sort of have them pitting this season?
Well, for me personally, I wouldn't look too much into depth with the Milan game. Look, it was a great result for Milan, but in my opinion, they had 2 very big outs, Hateboer and Gosens. Those are players that, you know, when they're in form, they win you the game. They actually go out there and give you the 3 points, especially Gosens. He's a massive addition to their attacking movement and the defense. So for me, I don't think you can look at their game against Milan as their season deciding game. I just reckon with Atalanta, you've had, you know, 2 to 3 massive players leave in 2 years. You had, you know, Gomez leave. That was a big loss. He was a captain. He was the heart and soul of the club. Then you have their best defender, Christian Romero, leave. And then that's could be the final nail in the coffin for them. But they got some big players out, and they haven't really brought in decent players that can fulfill, you know, the void that's been given because of these players leaving. Like Demiral, he's a great player, but was it the right move for him to go to Atalanta? Personally, as a Juventino, I would have liked to see him at Juventus for another season. I don't think he's playing as the best he can possibly play under Gasperini. And Matteo Pessina, he's a great player, don't get me wrong, but I don't see him as an attacking mid. They played him more as an attacking mid today, and he just was lost. Didn't really get much of the ball. I just felt like he didn't really link up with Duvan Zapata. Zapata was very isolated at some times, so I think that could be the issue. But then again, you know, they played Malinovsky as their second striker today on the game against Milan. So realistically, they're short on players. That's what I would say. And I think it's a bit too early to say whether they're going to keep falling or they're going to go up. I think right now they need to have a deep, hard look at each other, at themselves, but only time will tell.
Well
Who
said,
made the
bro.
mistakes on Tonali goal? Who was the player, Miguel?
Sorry?
Who made the mistakes on Tonali goal? That was a huge mistake.
Was the captain? Who was the captain?
Man.
Freuler.
Freuler, yeah, Freuler.
Freuler, yeah.
Like
Tough in
the other
Serie A,
thing
you
was,
get punished.
yeah, the other new player for Atalanta, the goalkeeper, really cost them points. That
Musso,
error on the
yeah.
Calabria goal.
But
was
that's what I
embarrassing.
mean. They cannot always replace the players they leave with some great players who they find a way. That luck, the good work, it's gonna end up somewhere. You cannot always create top player and sell.
Yeah, eventually your luck's going to run out a little bit in that department. You can't strike gold every time you dig. That's what you're trying to say. Thanks for the input, Michael. Appreciate it. Zil Amor, finally you have the floor to talk about your boys. Just go for it, because gentleman Spalletti, I love seeing him happy. I love seeing that little conversation between Mourinho and Spalletti. You can see the respect between the two gentlemen is very nice, and I can't wait for them to play each other soon. But the floor is yours, Armando.
Before we talk about Napoli, you should watch the whole Mourinho interview, because then Ferrara jumped in and Spalletti. It was funny. And a couple of good things come up. At that age, with that experience, they become gentlemen. I love listening to them talk. We went from Sarri and Mazzarri and Gattuso to a bit of Ancelotti and now Spalletti. So at least the press conference in Napoli is definitely better. Yeah. Listen. I say that every week, and I'm trying to put my hands forward, but it's game 7. And right now, like we said with Atalanta, it could be a peak of form where all Napoli players are really happy in the form and the other teams have heavy legs. It could be just the chemistry right now. But what I see, what Napoli doing right now, it gives opponent, every time the opponent tries to stop Napoli plan one way, there is a plan B, a plan C, a plan D, a plan D. Now the free kick, did you see the Napoli free kicks? That's the third free kick that we score with some funny combination. And it just come out that there is a team working on free kicks, studying the free kicks around Europe and showing them the player and try them at training. So you don't score because Osimhen doesn't score, you got Lozano coming and scoring. We don't score from a plane, we score from a corner. We can't score from a corner, we score on a fancy free kick. So at this stage, with all finger crossed and all the players playing the way they are, I can't see why we cannot go for the top 4. I'm not going to talk about title, because talking about title after 7 games, it's stupid. We saw many times in history of Serie A team going for 10 consecutive victory, 50 consecutive victory, and then they dropped. So, but this guy here, Osimhen, I said it last year, people laugh at me. I said it again this year before the season started, and people laugh at me. This guy is special. You know why he's special? Because when he goes back to home, he goes to play in the street in Africa with the kids without the shoes. It's very humble. It's very angry for victory. When he scores, he needs to go and celebrate with the fans. It's not one of those spoiled kids. Is he gonna get spoiled? Maybe. We don't know. But right now he's special, and he's got a beautiful speed. It's a nice kid, happy. He enjoyed to play. And the whole Napoli team seems to be very happy and play together. I saw Politano celebrating like he scored a goal when he done a tackle a few minutes towards the end. It won a goal, and he celebrated like it was a goal. And also Spalletti did something very good. He managed to free the mind of those players. You see Fabian Ruiz this year, it looks completely like a different player. You see Koulibaly's back at his best. We could play just with Koulibaly at the back, and it will be okay. You see Mario Rui, which is one of the weakest players we had on the left back, we always reach. But beside the stupid tackle that he did in the UEFA Europa League, he's been a very good left back. So you see all these players that dropped the last 2 seasons picking up again, and that's only the work of the coach. It has to be the coach working their head. Even Insigne, he's been playing great without having renewed the contract. He doesn't even get involved. He doesn't even care. He's playing, So everything seems to be perfect, but everything is too perfect to last forever. It's not going to be like this. A couple of things. Spalletti always have teams that start very, very good and drop in a month or 2. But Spalletti never had 5 substitution before. We guys keep forgetting that when we're comparing this year with 5-6 years ago, There's 5 substitutions this year. Did you see Napoli bench? Napoli against Fiorentina got Mertens coming in, Demme coming in, what's his name, Politano coming in. So Napoli's got a. I like to compare Napoli with the Michele can help me on this. I remember when Juventus had 22 players and every players could walk in and do their job, and they could have played starting in Napoli, in Milan, and Inter back then. I think right now Napoli has the luxury to have a very good depth where everybody's got good quality. That's a good sign. Are we gonna last forever? I don't know. But I watched. If you put the Classifica, what do you call the table? Put the table. Up.
Yeah.
All I care is this: the gap between Napoli and the 5th spot. Napoli and 5th spot. Then when we get closer, April, then we'll start looking at other things. But right now, I care about Napoli and 5th spot, which is Fiorentina. That's why that game was so important for us to win. We put 9-point gap between us and the Champions League last spot available.
As I said a couple of weeks ago, man, I can already foresee a scenario around match day 32, 33, where you can still win the league and still fall out of the Champions League zones. And, that scares me. And that's the way this season is going to go, man. So 100%. And just on Fiorentina, I'm sure you'll agree, Armando, they played another good game. Italiano has done some great things with that team. I fully expect them to stay around those Europa League spots this season.
Listen, on Fiorentina, I'm going to be more tactical. On Napoli, I'm always guided by passion, and I like to talk in general. On Fiorentina, what I noticed Fiorentina does, and you need to have a coach with guts. Italiano, he doesn't care about one-on-one. He plays one-on-one in every area of the ground. He press very high and leave one-on-one at the back. It probably cost the game against Napoli because you cannot press high and leave one-on-one with space, Osimhen, because all we need to do kick long ball into space and eventually going to get a free kick or deflection or something. But what Italiano does is going to put in trouble lots of teams. And if you remember, Napoli didn't have an easy game. We could have lost, we could have drawn. I remember Inter also had a tough game against them, and they played 3 top teams. They lost 3 games, but all 3 games they were really tough. I don't remember if it was Juventus or Milan they faced Fiorentina.
They faced Inter. They faced Inter 2 weeks ago.
Inter and Napoli, but there was another, maybe Roma. And all 3 games, they've been giving trouble to those teams. So, Fiorentina might be the new Atalanta, but with a history,
Yeah,
and
they come out of the gate early.
He's a great coach, man. I think remember what we said, for Italiano to move from Verona to a Napoli or to a Inter, like the rumors, would have been a bigger steps. For him to go to Fiorentina, it's a perfect scenario for him. And you know what? Fiorentina's got some nice players too.
Yeah.
The goalkeeper is not bad. The goalkeeper definitely not bad. The kids that scored the goal defensively struggle against Osimhen, but who's not gonna struggle against Osimhen's speed? But he's a good attacking. They got a beautiful striker. And if you see Fiorentina goal against Napoli, they study Napoli defense because Napoli defense on corner and set pieces is quite good. We do zone defending, but we do zone defending with compact numbers in the middle. So if you rewatch the game, they put 4 players on the second post. When the ball got played on the second post, 4 players pulled out back. So Koulibaly and Zelinski had to have a gap, and the ball was playing just in the gap for the what's his name again? I'm bad with names. Anyway, for the playing ball. So this year Serie A. It's very interesting. You're going to see a lot of teams play beautiful football like Fiorentina, like Napoli, like Milan. And I'm pretty sure Juventus will come back because, Allegri is a master of this kind of stuff. He knows when it's time to defend and when it's time to play football. And even like Inter play good with Inzaghi, Roma struggle a little bit on the game plan, but they score goals. I think Serie A is going to be very, very... I think Serie A will be more fun than any other league. Maybe only Premier League would be a little bit more interesting on Serie A because, it's got more commercialized and more superstars. But
Of course. All right, I'm going to go over to my boys Inter, and then we're going to go around the table to talk about the Roman sides before Michael can take over and talk about Juventus for a little bit as well. So my gentlemen got the business done, albeit another very, very subpar first half. That'll be 3 in a row. Atalanta, Fiorentina, Sassuolo, 3 garbage first half in Serie A. We're slow to start. What Inzaghi has done well this season is read the game almost too well in the second half. It doesn't make sense how a manager can fail so miserably in 30 minutes tactically and then somehow turn it around like he's got a kryptonite card of the other team in the second half. I'm very impressed with this gentleman's start to the campaign. He knows what he's here for. He knows what he's there to do. At his age, to still be scoring goals the way he is, it's sort of like class that doesn't really expire, but it will expire, and it's going to expire soon. Inter has got a lot of tricky fixtures coming up after this international break. And when I see Inter playing the way that they are doing at the moment, yes, like Admo says, we are having some beautiful spells under Inzaghi, but I would say about 1/3 of the football of the game at the moment is being played well by Inter. 1/3 is being played well. An hour of the game is being played poorly. And the reason we are getting over the line is because players like Skriniar, De Vrij, Bastoni, Barella, mentally, they've leveled up a little bit from last season because you've been trained by Conte. You've actually won a trophy that you can touch, that you can feel, that does stuff to people's psyche when you actually win it. You level up a little bit. So I am a little bit concerned that Inter are a couple of first-team injuries away from, going from that potential title challenging side down to that side that battles for fourth and fifth position. But there's not so much more you can complain about when you're still undefeated this season. So I'll just take that as confidently as I can, because we are still in a season where around Europe you are seeing some massive sides drop stupid points. I can't count the amount of Sundays I have woken up, or Mondays I've woken up to see Real Madrid, Paris Saint-Germain, Barcelona, even Bayern Munich recently dropped points as well. So we can call this the winner chicken dinner edition of Serie A Roundtable, because all of us picked up some pretty tough points this weekend, some really, really tough points this weekend. So we'll talk a little bit more about into next week and the week after. What I want to do now is go over to the Roman sides and then let Michael have his say. So we'll open up with you, Carlos, mate. As Armando sort of alluded to, Roma not playing the most beautiful football. Did anyone expect them to play beautiful football? Absolutely not. Under Jose Mourinho, it's just going to be terrorist football all season. It was your textbook 2-0 Jose performance over a relegation side, Carlos, man. But this guy on screen right now, Pellegrini, having a monster season, man. So what are you making of Roma so far?
They're doing very well. At the end of the day, it's the whole winning's the important bit. Winning pretty is good and all, but at the end of the day, the important part at the end of the day is the 3 points. Doesn't matter how good you look on the ball. If you're not getting the 3 points, it doesn't really matter. Roma's getting the job done. Yeah, sure, they're probably not the most attractive side, but like you just said, it is Mourinho. He's not known for his overly attractive football. They're just putting it together nicely. Huge fan of Pellegrini, and the guy this season has just gone up a level. So, they're definitely looking very good. I think with time, some of that nicer performance will sort of come through a little bit more. You'll get the players gel a little bit more. They'll fall into the style a little bit better. So I think they're definitely going to be one to watch. One thing I've said a few times now is hopefully it continues going well. Mourinho's biggest issue over the last however many clubs he's gone to is his tendency to turn on his team the minute things go south. So far, so good, but I still haven't changed my opinion. I'm still thinking that if things start to not go his way, if those grindy wins don't start happening, don't keep happening, things start to go south, he starts to get angry, he starts to blame individuals and lose the change room, and ultimately ends how he's ended in the last few clubs. I hope not, for Serie A's sake, because Serie A is always at its best with all the teams doing well, but I suppose we'll see how we go.
100%, man. Those are pretty much my reservations about him as well. When the going gets tough, is he going to be able to bite his tongue? Because since he has sort of had those mistakes in the last 2 or 3 clubs that he's been at, it's going to be really to identify the flaws in his psychological approach as a manager. So for me personally, I want him to succeed in Italy and continue with his managerial career as any Inter fan would want. Vincenzo, my friend, we are going over to you, which was the other, it was an absolute disaster for the other Roman side. This weekend, Lazio got absolutely peppered, Vince, by Bologna. It was the 9:30 kickoff in Sydney, so I was watching it with great intent. They were horrendous, man, in that first half. I actually have not sat down and seen a Lazio team play that badly. I'm going to say in my life, almost in the last 5 years now, because I can't remember what they were playing like more than that long ago, but this was bad. Similar to Jose Mourinho's stint at Roma, Vince, I'm going to ask you, do you think if they take too long to adapt to Sarri, you're going to see a situation like it was at Juventus where the players and the club sort of just lose patience with how long it's going to take to adapt, Vince?
I'm not sure that Lazio are in a position to get impatient with the manager. It's not like they have the deep pockets, and it's not like they have the history of making those moves. I see both Roman clubs having a tough season. I think where they'll finish at the end of the season. This Lazio performance was, like you mentioned, it was terrible. No Immobile there, and that really showed. Missing that number 9, not just the goals, but just missing his contribution to the match. They really showed nothing against a struggling Bologna side that were quite lively on the day. Barrow scoring a great goal and being a constant menace really was the key to unlock Lazio, and there was no fight, there was no spirit. I know it was a tired team, but there was a lot of tired teams in this round after playing so many games in a short period. Very disappointing from Lazio.
Yeah, it was, man.
The 1 point too, seeing Pepe Reina playing for Lazio as a starting goalkeeper just bothers me. He's not a starting goalkeeper for pretty much any team in Serie A. So, and they're going to keep coughing up points with Reina in the goals.
I said it's old now. It should better retire it. But you know why Sarri wants Reina? Because Reina can do the long ball like Pirlo. But at the end of the day, you need a goalkeeper that knows how to goalie first and then pass the ball.
100%. Yeah, it'll cost you 10 points at the end of the season.
Bologna riding high in ninth still. They're not going to drop as many points as people might think. We all sort of picked them to be there at the start of the season. I think they'll stick there. A couple of tricky fixtures against Milan and Napoli coming up after the international break. But they're a gutsy side, man. And when you beat Sardi's Lazio, I should say, 3-0, it's looking better than rather not for Bologna. So well done to them. Michele, my friend, it's such a pleasure to have you back on. Before we go to Michele, if you are watching this video, please, shameless plug, make sure you like and subscribe and share to your friends, your Serie A friends as well, so that we can keep growing here on Football Worldwide. Michele, fantastic debut goal for one of the national team's heroes in the Euro. It took you guys 86 minutes to break the derby. However, in my opinion, you guys probably could have won that by 2 or 3 goals. Decent gutsy performance from Juric's men, but Torino haven't won a derby in, bloody 2.5 decades. So go for it, Michael. What was your thoughts on the result there?
Look, it was good to get the 3 points. Obviously, the Derby della Mole, it's obviously, a very personal derby to Juve, because we've always been seen as the outsiders of Torino. So for us, it actually means more than what many people think, even though Torino, aren't as great of a team as they were, centuries ago. Locatelli, I always said to people, he's going to be the best signing for Juventus this year, without a doubt. He's so energetic. He's physical. He just knows exactly where the ball needs to be passed. He knows exactly how to get the ball forward and where to position himself when we need a midfielder to step up and take that, that space up forward and score. And he's done it twice already. He did it once against Sampdoria, and he's done it again in the derby. So we've got to give him a lot of credit for the way we're playing. We're playing well. I don't think we're playing amazingly. We're playing just getting by at the moment. I don't really enjoy watching the football we're playing. It's a little bit of survival football, like you Milan supporters, like the Milan boys were talking about with the Milan teams. They play realistically Allegri's team plan is very similar to Mourinho's in the way that he plays. He plays game by game. I'm not a massive fan of Allegri. I do appreciate all the glory and success he's brought for us, but he did cause a lot of issues in the change rooms, and there's a lot of tension between him and a lot of decisions made around transfers, and he doesn't like to take a lot of the blame. But as I say, with a lot of Interisti, you guys gave all the praise to Conte when he picked up Hakimi and he picked up Lukaku. So as much as you can be praised, you need to be criticised, and I think Allegri sometimes needs to be criticised for his transfer mistakes in the past. But for now, defensively, I knew he was going to come in and do a better job. Defensively, we look stronger. Up front, I think we lack goals, and that's a big issue for us. We're not scoring, multiple goals a game sometimes. Milan 1 goal, Napoli 1 goal, Torino game 1 goal, even in Champions League, Chelsea, just the 1 goal. This is not enough if you're going to win games anymore. Teams are better attacking. They're not like what it used to be 7 years ago, 5 years ago, where you could rest on a 1-0 lead. It's not the same league and it's not the same game. The whole of Italy's demographics and tactics has changed, and Allegri needs to adapt to it. And unfortunately, Ronaldo leaving for us it's starting to show a little bit. Morata's been excellent. I think Morata has stepped up this year. He scored 3 goals, including the goal he scored against Malmö. I think he's playing well, but he's injury prone. Dybala's injury prone. He's playing great as well this season. I'll give him the credit. Everyone knows I'm a big critic of him, but this year he's been well, and I hope to see him get that signature signed and ready for the contract, which they believe might be roughly around 8 mil plus bonuses, which is fair, and I respect that because we are struggling financially, Juve, surprisingly. So for him to do that, that's a big move. But at the moment we're getting there. We're 7th on the ladder now. There's a lot of progress that needs to happen. I think if Locatelli and if we can get Artur back from injury, we'll be okay. I think we will be in the top 3 this year, even though it doesn't look like that at the moment.
I think that the Allegri train is coming at us at full speed behind, bro, and it's going to hit like a ton of bricks when everybody's fit. We can see that. We can see the personnel that you've got. To be honest, none of us here want to see that happen, but it's going to happen. And as Admiral was saying, this is going to be a season where every single club is going to have their guts on the table, ready to go. Admiral, you want to carry this on, man?
Yeah, something to ask Miguel, because I was talking to Anthony Seminar over the phone, and he mentioned something that I didn't pick straight away because I don't follow Juventus, That's what a surprise. But Allegri's got a 5 years contract. So he made a valid point. This first year for Allegri, I think is Agnelli told him, come back. We are in a mess. Clean up. Clean up means when you're a coach, you got such a long term. So use wherever you get this year. See what we can really use for the next 5 years and what not. So I think Allegri is coming in and have to utilize all of them. And then at the end of the season, going to say, you know what? X, Y, and B. Go. We need to replace. We need this and this.
Yeah.
And
I had this conversation with Anthony, and 100% agree. I think that's why they've got Allegri in, because I know he won't leave unless we get rid of him or if there's an issue with his contract or how much we want to pay him. I think we won't get rid of him because that's just how we roll. We don't tend to like getting rid of players during seasons, so that's why.
Don't sign a 5 years contract for a coach that you don't have if you don't have not sit down and program me these 5 years. At least 3 years you got a program. You're gonna say, listen, 1 year to clean up, 2 years to rebuild, and then start winning. You don't just sign up 5 years contract and sign up Kane. Not offense. I know that's why Juventus not scoring goals. Kane would sit on the bench in any top club in Serie A right now.
I know exactly what you mean. But some of these players, they prove that they can play. Rabiot is starting over Tolisso for the French team, and they've got quality midfielders that are not playing, like Veretout and like I just said, what was his name? I just said it. Tolisso, yeah. So for me, some of these players, they show that they can play, that they play well for their national teams, and coming to Juve, they just for some reason go missing. And I don't see how that can be possible. You can't always blame the player. That's how I see it as a Juventus fan.
Napoli had the best player for his national team. If you guys remember, it was a gun for his national team, winning cups, scoring goal. Vargas. You guys remember that Vargas?
Yeah.
He was put in the Chile top. He looked like Messi. Then he was coming back to Napoli and looked like me. So,
Rabiot for France. All he has to do is get the ball and pass it to Pogba, or get the ball and give it to Benzema. That's it. He doesn't have to do anything.
I know that, but he's doing it over Tolisso and he's doing it over Veretout, and those are two players that everyone rates over Rabiot. So at the same time, you can say all these players are terrible, but when they're performing for another team, you can't just keep looking at the player. Same with Morata. He's doing well for Spain. He scores goals. He does what's given to him. A lot of these players, you can't just blame the player. Pardon?
Let's hope Morata keep doing good for Spain next game, huh?
We're not talking about that just yet.
We're not talking about that right now.
Armando's suspended for the next 2 weeks after this show anyway, especially if the result doesn't go our way. Carlos, I'm going to go over to you next, man, because a former Juventus man in Igor Tudor is having a fantastic effect on Hellas Verona. They're unbeaten since his arrival at the club. They've collected 8 out of their last 12 points, if I'm not mistaken. They had their best showing of the season. Obviously, Spezia, as I called from day one, are going to be absolute whipping boys. They were horrible. They were really, really bad. They were like children against men in this performance. But that 4-0 result, huge goals, real entertaining game. Simeone got a great goal. I forget who else scored. I think Faraoni grabbed a fantastic goal as well. This Verona showing was a strong one, man. You think they can survive the drop under this manager, Carlos?
Yeah, I think him coming in definitely has made a huge difference. They don't even look like remotely the same team. They were very much flat, out of ideas, didn't look at all impressive, didn't look to show pretty much anything. Tudor comes in and actually completely transformed the club. Players that were playing that were an absolute mess in those first few games are now starting to look solid. I think all he's done is just, shored the ship, giving them some structure, giving them some actual tactics that they can work with. And they're starting to look really good. I think ultimately they look like they will do enough to stay mid-table. I'm not sure they have the class or anything to do, or the class or the players to do any more than that, but they're definitely looking a lot better than they were. We'll see how that goes long term, but I think it should be more than enough. I think there's enough teams around them that are showing a lot less for them not to worry, I don't think, this season.
Yeah, I just want to go over to Michael one more time as well. With the introduction of Igor Tudor, do you see them surviving the drop, man? I know we don't expect them to do too much other than that, but losing Ivan Juric and then who did they lose to? Lazio on deadline day, that great player, Zaccagni, was it as well?
Yeah.
So, not too much expectations, but I look at their side with the likes of Caprari and Barak as well, man. This team should survive the drop in Serie A, Michael.
Oh, mate, I'm actually very impressed by this Hellas Verona team. They are very, very attacking, and I like the way that they go game by game and they analyze, their opponent and they go for it. Giovanni Simeone, I think he's actually found his team. After 3 different clubs in Serie A, he's finally found his team, and I think under Igor, he could actually become a great player. As for Faraoni, absolute great captain, great player, another player who you know what you're getting with him. He will score goals, he will assist. He brings a passion to Hellas Verona. Same with Bessa and Caprari. These players, I'm telling you now, they're going to be top of the market by the end of this season. I'm telling you now, there's going to be a lot of big teams like Napoli, Juve, Inter are going to be looking to pounce on these young talent, because that's what they are. They really are a great team, and I'm enjoying watching them against this week when they played against who did they verse again?
Spezia.
Spezia for me, they're gonna get relegated. I reckon they're gonna get relegated. They're not a very good team under Motta. He doesn't seem like he's fully taken the expectation of coaching. I think his results have been very, very mediocre. Even against Milan, how do you go from the momentum of drawing to losing the game? Like, I just don't understand a lot of what he's doing. But as for, Verona, they're keeping big players that everyone would expect to be playing, like Lasagna and Kalinic on the bench, because they don't need them. They have the young talent there and they're using it. And that's what a great team does, and it just shows you that this team here could potentially fight for that Conference League spot or that Europa League spot. Maybe not the Europa League spot, but definitely the Conference League spot. I think they're a big contender, especially if there's a slip up between Atalanta and the 2 Roma teams.
Wow, fair enough, man. A little bit further than I'd expect them to go this season, but you never know, bro. There's always those 1 or 2 dark horses that just exceed expectations, because there are going to be a couple of those extra spots up for grabs, because one team we didn't cover in this pod and we're not going to is Sassuolo, and that's probably going to be your biggest fall from grace in Serie A this season. I'm going to go over to Vince to finish off on Hellas Verona and Igor Tudor before I finish off strong with Zuamo.
Yeah, I had to comment about my Prate Tudor. I think Verona have realised that they need a Croatian coach. That's the secret. They had a good thing with Juric, and now they got Igor there. So it's good to see the Croats doing well. I'm not sure if they'll get anywhere near European spots, to be honest, but I think if they can tighten up the defence a little, they're scoring goals, which is a good sign, but they need to make the best of the good times and pick up points, because it's not going to be a smooth season for them. They will have bad parts of it. If they can pick up enough points in times like this where they've got a bit of momentum, that's going to be key for them being either mid-table or fighting.
Yeah, fair enough. Armando, the Tifosi of Salernitana rejoice. They have their first win of all time in Serie A. Armando, what does it mean for this club to get a win in top division, man? You happy for the fans?
Oh, it's always
we should all at least be happy a little bit for the fans.
Salernitana. There's a big rivalry. Anyway, now, can I say something? None of us give them credit. I was looking at the table before, and now they start moving up. They don't last anymore. They got 4 points out of the last 3 games with a massive victory over Genoa, because Genoa is one of those teams that are going to be there head-to-head. So, credit to them. And they start playing some nice football. They could have scored a few goals already. So, it could be the surprise. Listen, like we said with everybody, 7 games, everything can unfold and refold and start all over again. But it's good to start getting, because, when you are a new team and you move to a new league, you got promoted. And week 1, week 2, week 3, don't score a goal, don't get point. You start getting to your head. And if they didn't start getting points by the game 10, game 11, and then I think mentally the whole team will drop. So that's a great result for them, because first of all, they don't last anymore. Second, they go 4 points, and third, they're scoring goal now, because they scored 2 against Verona. They drove with Verona 2-0. They didn't draw against a bad team, because Verona is proving us wrong as well, because we thought Verona was one of those teams going for relegation. So Salernitana is picking up some very important point. Time will tell. Definitely they're happy, because the first 3 points in Serie A after so many years, you have to be happy.
Their next 3 games are key. You got Spezia, Empoli, Venezia. They're all
Yeah, it's going to be intense, especially the next game, because the next game kick up with a victory, and then I give it the boost for the next 2. But next 2 weeks, there's going to be interesting cross at the top and at the bottom already.
Very much. Yeah, we got a lot of big teams facing each other, a lot of teams at the bottom facing each other. Speaking of the bottom, as Armando just said, and as we've all saying, 7 games into the season, you don't start talking about where teams are going to finish. I refuse to believe a team coached by Mazzari with players this good is going to finish and stay last. I don't mind, to be honest. I have no attachment to Cagliari. And as I've said before, the way that their director is screwed into around, I wouldn't mind seeing them drop. But you got Keita Balde, you've got Nandez, João Pedro, Kevin Strootman, Diego Godin, coached by Walter Mazzari. I know some of these players' names are dead, but they look shocking. Armando, they look absolutely shocking.
It's a shocker, but you know what? Cagliari, to me, has all the credential to have a very nice season where they can have fun. They can be a troublemaker for some good team, You just mentioned the name, João Pedro, man. What a player, We always question why still a Cagliari didn't go anywhere. I have no words. Mazzari, it's a coach that it's cut to defense and countering attack and save team. That's supposed to be bed and bread. It's supposed to be an easy job for him. Let's see. Now, 2 weeks ago, he had the excuse that they played 2 games in 3 days. He didn't have time to coach the team. Now, he's got 2 weeks gap. I don't see many of these players going for national break. So let's see on the return. He doesn't have any more excuse. He'll have the team for 2 weeks. He can work on his team. He can train him and see how he goes. But
not a good result. 1-1 at home against Venezia. So he's definitely got a lot to do. A lot to do.
But looking back, I'll let you go. Looking back at Mazzari, history of the last few years, he didn't have a very good run with any club that he went.
His last season with Torino was a disaster. He started well, but then it just went downhill.
England, man, he didn't have
with Watford, it was horrible.
Yeah. Maybe Napoli was lucky because you got the Lavezzi. Probably me and you on the bench with Lavezzi, Cavani, Hamsik would have done a decent job. I don't know. Maybe he was the right person at the right place. He was just lucky. I don't know.
Yeah,
I have a lot of respect for him because he put Napoli in Champions League with Aronica and Cannavaro, which is for me is a miracle with those 2 at the back, center back. But
Fair enough. Guys, this has been, in my opinion, a very, very good edition of the Serie A Roundtable on Football Worldwide. It's been very, very enjoyable. We're going to an international break over the next, I think, is it 2 weeks, gentlemen? I think the Nations League occupies 2 weeks, World Cup qualifiers as well in every single continent that's playing them. So we won't be returning with a Serie A Roundtable next week, but keep your eye peeled because I will be bringing out some other content on the channel. I'll go around and say my gratitude to all of my amazing guests. First of all, Vince, it was an absolute pleasure to have you back, and we hope to have you soon, my friend.
Thanks, Anthony. Thanks, boys. Been great.
No worries. To Armando, always a pleasure, my friend. It's nice to see you from Napoli in the stadium. Very comfortable.
Yeah, it's getting cold here. Luckily, we finished. But it was nice to be back. Nice to see Michael and Vince. I haven't seen them in a few weeks. Carlos, I see him almost every day. We speak over chat, so always present. And nice to be back, guys. Follow the channel, leave a like, share the video. Other way, Italy's gonna lose against Spain. I'm telling you.
Arnold's 2 week suspension from Football Worldwide kicks in about 60 seconds, and I look forward to it. Michele, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on again, bro. You take care of yourself.
Thank you, Anthony, and thank you, Vince, and Zuamo and Carlos. Thank you all. You know, it's really good that we can have these discussions, and looking forward to the next one. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And to my friend Carlos, always a pleasure, my friend, coming in with the best beard groomed I've ever seen on any of my channels, bro.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Yeah, definitely always a pleasure to speak to you guys. And yeah, always a great chat. Good to chat to a fellow Milanista. So slowly we'll take over. That's right.
Yes,
this week it was 2. Next time it'll be 3. Before you know it, it's just Milan fans. So.
not if I have anything to do with it, bro. But thanks. I appreciate your concerns. Guys, from everyone here at Football Worldwide, thank you very much. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Ciao, ragazzi.